Officer Liam Coleman thought he was merely conducting a routine traffic stop when a faint whimper from the back seat caught his attention. As he peered inside, his heart sank at the sight of a trembling puppy, its frail body a stark contrast to the rusted blue sedan. What desperation and fear could have led to such a pitiful state? Every day, Officer Coleman patrolled the quiet town of Richfield, surrounded by rolling hills and dense forests. Known for his dedication and sharp instincts, he had encountered many unusual situations, but nothing could prepare him for the heart-wrenching scene before him that crisp autumn afternoon. It all began with a flicker of suspicion. The sedan sped past a stop sign, tires skidding on the damp pavement. Liam parked a few meters away, instinctively reaching for his lights and siren. Routine traffic violations were common, but this car radiated urgency. As he approached the driver's side window, he noticed the man's nervous hands gripping the wheel tightly, avoiding eye contact. "Good afternoon," Liam began, his tone firm yet professional. "Do you know why I stopped you?" Before the driver could respond, a faint, high-pitched whimper drifted from the back seat. It was so soft that Liam almost missed it, but then it came again, a desperate, heart-wrenching sound that sent chills down his spine. Liam's eyes flicked to the back window, and his breath caught in his throat. A small, frail puppy huddled in the back seat, its matted fur dirty and its ribs visible beneath its thin coat. The wide, frightened eyes locked onto Liam's, pleading for help. His mind raced. Why was the puppy in such a condition? Why did the driver seem so nervous? "Sir," Liam said, his voice sharper now, "step out of the vehicle." The man hesitated, and Liam's hand tightened on his belt. Something about this situation felt deeply wrong. As the driver, a wiry man in his late 40s with sunken eyes, finally stepped out, his movements were jittery, his gaze darting between Liam and the trembling puppy. "Sir, please step to the front of the car," Liam instructed, gesturing for the man to place his hands on the hood. The driver complied, though his reluctance was evident. "What's in the back seat?" Liam asked, keeping his tone measured. "It's just a dog," the man mumbled, his voice barely audible. "I was going to take it to the shelter." Liam narrowed his eyes. Something didn't add up. He stepped closer to the car and peered through the back window. The puppy whimpered again, curling further into itself, visibly shaking. "Do you have any paperwork for the dog? Vaccination records? Proof of adoption?" Liam asked, already suspecting the answer. The man shook his head. "No, like I said, I just found it." Liam's gaze hardened. "Then why is the dog in this condition? If you were helping it, why is it malnourished and injured?" The man's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Panic rose in his eyes. At that moment, Liam made a decision. "Dispatch, this is Officer Coleman. I need animal control and backup at my location. Possible case of animal neglect and abuse." The driver's head snapped up. "Wait. You don't understand, then explain it to me," Liam said, his tone sharp. "Because right now, it looks like you've been mistreating this animal." The man's shoulders slumped, and he muttered something under his breath. Before Liam could press him further, the man suddenly bolted, sprinting toward the nearby woods. "Stop!" Liam shouted, immediately giving chase. The driver was fast, but Liam's training and determination gave him the edge. Within moments, he tackled the man to the ground, pinning him down as he called for backup again. "Why did you run?" Liam demanded, breathless. The man didn't answer, his face pressed into the dirt. By the time backup arrived, Liam had the man handcuffed and sitting on the side of the road. Another officer began questioning him, but Liam's focus returned to the puppy. He gently opened the car door and reached inside, speaking softly to avoid startling the terrified animal. "Hey buddy, it's okay now. You're safe." The puppy flinched at first but didn't resist as Liam carefully lifted it into his arms. Its tiny body was lighter than he expected, limp with exhaustion. Up close, he could see the extent of its injuries, bruises along its ribs, cuts on its paws, and a raw wound on its neck from the tight twine. Liam's heart ached. He cradled the puppy against his chest, shielding it from the cold wind as he walked it to his patrol car. Animal Control arrived shortly after, and Liam briefed them on the situation. "This little guy needs immediate medical attention," Liam told Sarah, the officer from Animal Control. "I don't think he has much time." Sarah nodded, her expression grim. "We'll take him to the nearest vet." As Sarah carefully placed the puppy into a carrier, Liam felt a surge of relief but also a lingering sense of anger. How could someone treat an innocent creature with such cruelty? Meanwhile, the driver was taken into custody. Under questioning, he admitted that the puppy hadn't been found by the side of the road. It had been part of an illegal breeding operation he was involved in. The operation had been shut down months earlier, but he had kept the puppy, intending to sell it. When he realized the authorities were closing in, he panicked and tried to get rid of the evidence. Liam's blood boiled as he listened to the confession. This wasn't just a case of neglect, it was part of a much larger and darker issue. But now, thanks to his perseverance and the quick response from law enforcement, the puppy had a chance at a new life. As Liam watched the Animal Control vehicle disappear down the road, carrying the fragile puppy to safety, he felt a wave of emotions crash over him: relief, anger, and a deep sense of purpose. But there was no time to dwell on it. The driver's confession had opened a door to something much larger than a single case of neglect. Back at the station, Liam reviewed the evidence gathered from the traffic stop. The man had been carrying a small notebook containing cryptic notes, phone numbers, and addresses. Most of it seemed mundane, but one entry caught Liam's attention: drop-off point, Warehouse Road. The note was scrawled hastily, as if written in a rush. Liam showed the notebook to his captain, who immediately authorized further investigation. "This could be the lead we need to crack a large operation," the captain said, his tone serious. "But we'll need to approach this carefully." Liam agreed. He spent the next few hours coordinating with detectives and Animal Control, piecing together the fragments of information. The driver, now in custody, reluctantly admitted under pressure that the warehouse mentioned in the notebook had been used as a meeting point for transactions related to the breeding ring. While the operation had largely been dismantled months earlier, some members had evaded capture, and Liam suspected they were still active. The following evening, Liam and a team of officers prepared for a covert operation to investigate the warehouse. They moved under the cover of darkness, their vehicles parked discreetly a block away. As they approached the building, a faint light flickered through the cracks in the dilapidated walls. Liam's heart pounded as they moved closer. He signaled for the team to spread out, surrounding the building to ensure no one could escape. The air was thick with tension, every sound amplified in the stillness of the night. "On my signal," Liam whispered into his radio. 3, 2, 1. The team burst through the entrance, flashlights slicing through the darkness. Inside, the scene was both heartbreaking and infuriating. Rows of cages lined the walls, each one housing animals in varying states of neglect. Puppies, their eyes wide with fear, cowered in corners, while older dogs barked weakly, their voices hoarse from exhaustion. Liam's stomach turned as he took in the sight. The stench of filth and despair was overwhelming. He spotted a clipboard hanging on the wall detailing transactions and shipments, evidence that could be crucial in dismantling the remaining network. As the officers began freeing the animals, they heard footsteps above. Someone was still in the building. Liam and another officer raced up the stairs, weapons drawn. At the top, they found a man frantically trying to escape through a broken window. "Stop!" Liam commanded, his voice echoing through the empty space. The man froze, hands raised in surrender. "Turn around slowly and get on the ground," Liam ordered, his tone leaving no room for argument. The man complied, and within moments, he was handcuffed and led downstairs. Back on the main floor, animal control teams had arrived to assist with the rescue effort. The animals, they frightened, were being gently coaxed out of their cages and into waiting vehicles. Liam noticed one particular puppy, a tiny black and white ball of fur, staring at him with wide, pleading eyes. It reminded him of the puppy from the traffic stop, and his heart clenched. Officer Coleman called Sarah, the animal control officer he'd worked with earlier. "We've got a full house here. Thanks for calling us in." Liam nodded. "What's the status on the puppy from yesterday?" Sarah smiled. "He's doing better. The vet said he'll need some time to recover, but he's strong. You'd be surprised what resilience these little ones have." Relief washed over Liam. At least one life had already been saved, and now dozens more would have a chance at a new beginning. As the team secured the building and gathered evidence, Liam couldn't help but reflect on the gravity of the situation. The people involved in this operation had treated these animals as commodities, showing no regard for their suffering. It was a stark reminder of the darker side of human nature, but also of the importance of standing up for those who couldn't defend themselves. The rescued animals were transported to shelters and veterinary clinics, where they would receive the care they so desperately needed. Liam stayed behind to oversee the final stages of the operation, ensuring that every piece of evidence was documented and every corner of the warehouse was searched. By the time the operation was complete, dawn was breaking over Richfield. The first rays of sunlight illuminated the quiet streets, a stark contrast to the chaos of the night. Liam sat in his patrol car, exhausted but fulfilled. He had no doubt that this was only the beginning of a much larger investigation, but for now, he allowed himself a moment of gratitude. He thought of the puppy he had rescued the day before, imagining it safe and warm in the care of the veterinary team. That small life, trembling in the back seat of a car, had led to the rescue of countless others. It was a reminder that even the smallest actions could spark a ripple effect of change. A week had passed since the raid on the warehouse, and Officer Liam Coleman had thrown himself into the investigation with renewed determination. The evidence collected, ledgers, transaction records, and the testimony of the man arrested at the scene, painted a disturbing picture of the scale of the illegal breeding operation. But it wasn't until he received a call from Sarah, the animal control officer, that the case took an unexpected turn. "Liam," Sarah said, her voice filled with urgency. "You need to come down to the clinic. It's about the puppy from the traffic stop." Liam's heart skipped a beat. "Is he okay?" he asked, already grabbing his keys and heading for the door. "He's fine, but there's something you need to see. I'll explain when you get here." 15 minutes later, Liam walked into the clinic, greeted by the familiar sounds of barking and the smell of disinfectant. Sarah met him in the lobby, her expression serious but tinged with a hint of excitement. "Follow me," she said, leading him down a hallway to a private examination room. Inside, the puppy, now cleaned up and looking slightly healthier, was resting in a padded crate. But it wasn't the puppy that caught Liam's attention, it was the folder Sarah was holding. "What's going on?" Liam asked, his brow furrowed. Sarah opened the folder and handed him a series of photographs. "We ran some tests on the puppy, standard procedure to check for any underlying health issues or genetic markers. And well, we found something unusual." Liam studied the photographs. They showed close-ups of the puppy's coat, but under a special type of lighting, faint markings appeared on its skin, patterns that looked almost like a brand or tattoo. Liam's stomach churned. "What is this?" he asked, his voice low. "It's a marker," Sarah explained. "We've seen this before in cases involving high-end animal trafficking rings. Some breeders use these marks to identify specific litters or bloodlines. It's like a signature. But this one," she paused, flipping to another photo. This one matches a ring we've been investigating for years. They're notorious for breeding rare and exotic animals, often in horrific conditions. Liam's grip on the photos tightened. So you're saying this puppy is connected to a larger network? Sarah nodded. Exactly. And the fact that he ended up in the car means we're closer to that network than we've ever been. Liam's mind raced as he processed the information. The driver from the traffic stop had claimed he was trying to get rid of the puppy because he feared being caught, but now it was clear that the puppy wasn't just a victim of neglect. It was a key piece of evidence in a much larger and more sinister operation. We need to track this, Liam said, his tone firm. If this marker matches their network, then there has to be a way to trace it back to the source. Sarah agreed. I've already contacted a specialist who works with law enforcement on cases like this. She's an expert in decoding these markers and tracing their origins. She'll be here tomorrow. The following day, Liam returned to the clinic to meet the specialist, Dr. Elena Marquez, a forensic veterinarian with years of experience investigating animal trafficking. Dr. Marquez examined the photos and confirmed Sarah's findings. This marker is unique to a breeder we've been trying to shut down for years, she explained. They are based overseas but operate through a network of intermediaries. The fact that this puppy is here means the network is active in this region. Liam's jaw clenched. Do we have any leads on where they might be operating locally? Dr. Marquez hesitated. The markers give us a starting point, but we'll need more evidence to pinpoint their current operations. However, I can tell you this, if this puppy is part of their network, then it's likely there are more animals being trafficked as we speak. That evening, Liam sat at his desk, poring over the evidence. The realization that the puppy he had rescued was part of a massive illegal operation weighed heavily on him, but it also gave him a renewed sense of purpose. This wasn't just about one animal. It was about dismantling a system that thrived on cruelty and exploitation. Suddenly, an idea struck him. He opened the file containing the notes and addresses found in the driver's notebook. One address in particular stood out, Site B. It was circled in red ink, with a note beside it, Lost Shipment. Liam's pulse quickened. Could this be another drop-off point or perhaps a storage location for the trafficked animals? Without wasting a moment, he called his captain. I think I found something, he said. We need to check out this address. The next morning, Liam and a small team of officers arrived at the address. It was an unassuming property on the outskirts of town, a large, run-down barn surrounded by overgrown grass. The air was thick with the smell of decay, and the distant sound of barking sent chills down Liam's spine. Stay alert, Liam instructed his team as they approached the barn. Inside, the scene was hauntingly similar to the warehouse they had raided days earlier. Rows of cages lined the walls, some empty, others housing animals in various states of distress. But this time, there was something even more disturbing. In the center of the barn, a table was covered in documents, photographs, and what appeared to be a ledger detailing sales and shipments. Liam's eyes scanned the pages, and his heart sank as he recognized some of the addresses, locations across multiple states, each tied to the trafficking network. This is it, Liam said, his voice filled with determination. This is the break we've been waiting for. The discovery of the barn and its disturbing contents shook Liam and his team. As the evidence was meticulously documented and the animals rescued, the reality of what they had uncovered began to set in. This was no small operation, it was an intricate network that stretched far beyond Richfield. Back at the station, Liam sat with the captain and the lead detectives, going over the evidence. The ledger was filled with cryptic codes and symbols, making it clear that whoever ran this operation was experienced in covering their tracks. However, a few entries stood out, references to Shipment Alpha and Client 7, along with a date and time scheduled just 3 days away. This could be our chance, Liam said, tapping the ledger. If we can figure out where this shipment is happening, we might be able to catch them in the act. The captain nodded. It's a good lead, but we need to tread carefully. Whoever's behind this isn't going to let their operation go down without a fight. Over the next 48 hours, the team worked tirelessly to decode the ledger and piece together the puzzle. Dr. Elena Marquez returned to assist, using her expertise to cross-reference the codes with known trafficking patterns. Her analysis revealed that Shipment Alpha likely referred to a collection point near the state border, a secluded area often used for discreet exchanges. Meanwhile, Sarah, the animal control officer, worked alongside Liam to ensure the rescued animals from the barn were receiving care. Among them was the puppy from the original traffic stop, now affectionately named Chance by the clinic staff. Despite his traumatic beginnings, Chance showed remarkable resilience, his playful demeanor bringing a glimmer of hope to an otherwise grim situation. Liam visited the clinic one evening, exhausted but determined. He crouched down by Chance's crate, letting the puppy lick his hand. "Ah, you started all this, didn't you?" Liam said softly, a small smile breaking through his fatigue. "We're going to make sure they can't hurt anyone else." As the day of the scheduled shipment approached, tensions ran high. The team devised a plan to intercept the